All right, let's get loud. We got the next series, Loud versus PSG, game one. Both of these teams have looked very good, but they've also shown large weaknesses. We'll see which version comes up today. So we've got Tinounds, who's been in plenty of these matchups. Had an awesome interview yesterday, shouting out to the crowd. So definitely they have them on their favor, and the Brazilians showing up. I mean, there's more World Cup Brazil soccer jerseys in the fans than esports jerseys, which is kind of crazy. Kind of nod, hey Riot, start selling these teams stuff at venues. Why can't we do that? I went to Madison Square Garden and all you had was stuff that said Worlds, and you didn't actually have any apparel for any team. What's up with that? I think people want to buy the jerseys. Leave a comment if you agree. Like, I want to go. I don't want to just buy generic World stuff. I want to see the World's jersey of the team I'm there to cheer for. They can make some money. You'll make more sales. It seems like a win-win-win. Everybody wins in that situation. Anyways, here we go. We got Aji versus Robo in the beginning. Now, Rise, notoriously bad trader early, especially against someone like Kennen, who has gone electrocute. But Robo able to get the last poke off in that trade. Now, this is Dorn's Blade Kennen, right, taking advantage of that early laning situation, saying, hey, so much of my damage is going to come from auto attacks in this matchup. But Rise stepping up, unafraid and unapologetic, saying, hey, I'm not afraid of you, right? I've got the Dorn's Ring. It's actually going on my ratios, which is kind of bizarre. Normally, Dorn's Ring, sometimes you see the mana crystal being bought first. So must be a nod of some sort saying, hey, this is exactly how much HP I need to survive this lane. But it is going to slow their build down to not be tiered and not be mana crystal, and to have that potion. So very much making a declaration that the early game is going to matter to them. Now we have an explosive matchup in mid. Tristana versus Cass, right? We're going to have the range advantage to the Tristana and the explosive damage advantage to the Tristana. However, at early levels, it is not lethal, whereas Cassiopeia's damage will become lethal because she will have second Qs and unlimited E's empowered against you if you jump in. So very much you have to be very careful with every trade that you take as the Tristana. You need to get about 30% of this HP down before going for an all-in. Now, Croc baiting out the early engage using Flash. Wow, that feeling that weak. A testament to Tristana having priority in mid-wave is what allows Junjia to get that advantage up in the top. Now, PSG, right, even though sponsored by a French soccer organization, they are the, God, what am I thinking of? The Taiwanese contestants here at MSI. Ugh. And they have shown well for themselves, right? This team has been good. They've always been missing players, right? They've always been down one player, either one player's sick or travel banned or couldn't go because of COVID or whatever it was. They've always been missing one player from their completed rosters, and they've been good on the international stage. So will be exciting to see exactly what this team is capable of. They are heavy favorites in this matchup, I believe. And they should be one of the teams to make it out of this play-in set. Now, check out this proactive play. You say, I can't gank. I can't go all in against a Cassiopeia, but I can go all in against your top lane Rise. So Tristana taking the advantage. Now, Loud tried desperately to get out of that situation, right? Tristana versus Rise. And you could easily see them just either swapping or making these proactive plays. Love to see it. Also love to see that they did not greed for the CS here. That wave is in a negative state. It's coming back. However, Aji goes for the teleport now. Now, this can be a nod to the fact that at 10 minutes, you'd like to use your teleport again, right? So saying, hey, I know I'm going to want to use my first ultimate in lane around 5:45 or 6:30. I want to be able to unlock myself to be able to play on the bot side of the map at 10 minutes, right? So if you're making that teleport, despite the wave being in a negative state that's coming back to you, you're doing it because you definitely want to keep priority and or you definitely want to make a play at around 10 or 11 minutes, right? So that's what it seems like they're going for. Let's check out this replay. Who grabs aggro? Should be the Tristana or the Sejuani. Sejuani being exceptionally tanky early, right? So here we go. Takes the aggro. Happy starts moving out Actually flashes, did not need to flash, could have gotten away with one extra turret shot, maybe. Actually, you know what, that looked like it would have been fairly close, so maybe not so much. So now let's see, Tristana with the early Noon Quiver, right? This is for pushing power, not so much for the all-in win against Cassiopeia, which you definitely would be losing. And on top of that, Cass has hit 6 first, so you can never jump into the Cass from this point on because it is a guaranteed hit on her ultimate. You can try to do a short distance hop and then immediately change directions to look away from the scream, and that'll be a sort of outplay potential there. But again, Tristana, it would be very fickle. Right, if you went for that play without any kind of support, she gets to guarantee her Q on your landing spot. She's going to slow you down with the ultimate at the very least, if not more. And the extended trade, right, always is going to favor Cassio. If you don't get her all the way dead, she's going to rip into you with the Twin Fangs and then continue the fight. One more Q and you will be dead. So Tristana opting not to go for it, instead just pushing in the waves, saying push roam, push back. It's going to be a big pattern like this. You step back, enemy team doesn't quite know where you are. Everyone has to play a little bit passively. These teams, if they're really in sync, then their laners will know exactly what it means. When your mid laner says, I'm recalling right now, that is a moment for everyone to start posturing a little bit more aggressively. Both sides, right? You don't actually need to have anyone present. Oh, this is a mistake by Junja, trying to take away some amount of the juicy fruits, the jelly beans, what do you call these? Trying to take some amount, but gets a little bit of a chunk, down a quarter of his HP. But yeah, when your mid laner disappears, everyone can start posturing, right? Because enemy team, assuming you know that they don't know where you are, you could be left, you could be right, you could just be recalling. If everyone uses that moment to play aggressively, hold on, we see the combination here, beautiful stun, lock, chain CC, executed perfectly. If they don't know where you are, you could be left, you could be right, you can be aggressive in both spots. The counter to that, which is very, very difficult to see, which would be, hey, mid laner is out of my lane. Everyone starts off by playing passively, but they say, hey, they're pressing up on bot. If they say, hey, we're pressing up on top as well, the correct play is actually to be aggressive in both spots. Yes, you might lose one of them, but you should win the other one. Right? You can go be aggressive in 2 spots at once. Either Tristana is bot, or she's top, or she's gone and she's not there. You might even take 2 wins for yourself, but at the very least you can make 1 proactive win for yourself in that situation. But that is very, very tricky to do in real time, to be able to recognize that sort of play. Now, Aphelios getting the push out, already has Berserkers done, is going to start building towards this Noon Quiver, and we'll see if they turn this direction towards the Dragon or towards the Herald. Kennan's ultimate is going to be up soon, but the teleport will not, right? This is going to be at 10:30 that the teleport is up. That's when I would expect to see more of an action play towards the Dragon. It looks like Herald is... The call must be to contest because Woody's here, right? So there's got to be some amount of pressure put on them. Could just be, hey, we're going to, check it out. Little head fake from the Thresh. Bring 4 people here because you think we're contesting, when in reality we're just going to gain the river right here, and Sejuani's going to get the edge up on Zeri, get some chunk damage out on her. Now, Woody, you can't go through this. What are you doing going in that position? Unless you're a genius? Oh, Tristana not going for any extra power here. Ends up having to flash forward because the jump was too scared. I understand that you don't want to jump into any place that Cass can hit you, but that is a full up frontal win. You got to take that. So ends up jumping away, wasting his flash to get back in for the damage. So a little bit of a miscommunication there. Missed opportunity. But they do take their victory here. They've got the Dragon. They had the inside track. They were going to have advantages here. I don't like that Zeri Route was willing to take damage to come forward and check through the river. But it's sort of a hedged bet, right? When you're coming up through mid-wave, you're able to help at Herald. If it happens, you're able to help at Dragon. And of course, the natural progression is, hey, you're mid, I'm going to diagonally go through to bot. But Junja is able to get the chunk out on him for it. So Woody, was this just a master bait? Oh, right there, he could have just flayed right there. Rakan would have been dead to rights. Could have gotten the flay in before the hook. So actually, Woody leaving a lot of play on the table there. If it was a bait, great, but definitely missed execution. Could have gotten away with way more there. Now here we go. Do we cover Yubao? You got to punch in on the cast right there. All right, Aphelios and Zeri left alone in the lane. We've seen this before this tournament. We've seen it all spring. It's going to continue happening for the rest of the tournament. You're going to see these late game hyper carry scaling threats, marksmen down here. We haven't seen Kaisa, which would excel in a lot of these situations when we're getting these roams. Does have the potential. Really no reason why it's not getting played, although these teams just say, hey, we really like how the power is on these champions. But yeah, Kaisa's been given back a lot of her power. Normally she's strong for an international event before they nerf her again. But we haven't seen any Kaisa. I expect what it will take is probably some bans on the other champions. These players have gotten so many reps in on the Zeris and Jinxes and Aphelioses of the world that they're probably just looking to play those champions more and more. Not mix it up and have to mix in any sort of Kaisa. Although, if Nautilus is strong mid, you can have good lanes. You can play Kaisa Thresh. There's a lot of good combinations. Amumu Kaisa as well. Check out this fight in the jungle. Trading 1-for-1 despite being a 2v3. And Cassiopeia is there. Normally you expect her to take those fights down cleanly. And it ends up being a trade of supports. Now in the 2v3, you take that. Tristana still dutifully in the mid lane, gaining the XP advantage, but I'd like to see you get some more roams in, right? I want to see this gank up on the rise again. You do have kill pressure with Ken and Tristana. You do have the stuns that are able to lock the rise out from using the warp. Here we go. Aggressing. Zeri playing aggressively. He's feeling it. Has the Rakan in tow. That'll be enough to get this win. And really, I don't know. Was Aphelios thinking that they were good because Sejuani was up? You're going to lose that 1v1 anyways. So I do not like the position at all from Aphelios, Waco up there, taking that 1v1 or allowing the 1v1 to be taken. So let's see. Cross map. Flashing in. Ooh, concise. They say, let's get this done quick. We don't want to deal with any nonsense. We don't want anyone rooted under turret. Now Tristana's going to be able to take another plate here. Cassiopeia diving up. Now Kennen immediately teleporting back to mid. I love this play. You leave Tristana up for a wave. It forces the issue. Rotation has to come over. Otherwise they would have lost another plate. Kennen takes the window to push out mid. You're going to see him with the help of Thresh. They're going to collect a plate for themselves here. We'll see if Cass ends up staying in the top wave. Definitely should stay to push this next wave. But where does Rise go? Does Rise do the same? Wash one wave here and then go? Do they swap back or do they keep this position? Will be interesting to see. Now we see Aphelios again in this position. Zeri's going to be favored here all night long. Has, unfortunately though, because of the cull, does not have the completed first item. So there is a difference right there. The completed Gale Force is going to make a difference. So they will step a little bit further back. Zeri unable to take the full advantage of the situation because of that cull diff. But they are able to get the trade up in mid-wave, right? They're able to get, not even a trade, just get the kill up in mid-wave. Rise, very susceptible. Robo, we talked about it. Just don't like what he's been doing so far. And yeah, just check the scoreboard, 0-4. Some of it not really his fault, right? Getting dove up in the top wave. You need to have that instinct on a champion like Rise. Maybe they don't play it as often, but you need to know when you can and can't stay and when you have to get out. Great job by Tristana here. Using the cannon to be able to one-shot the wave and shorten the push. But yeah, Robo 0-4, Rod of Ages, 14 minutes into the game. That's a slow stack right there. Now, what are we going to get back? How do we get back in this game if you're loud? Well, Cassiopeia is going to be a point of strength. Zeri is a point of strength. Wukong, very good with the Divine Sunder right now. So they are going to be feeling very strong at this very moment. They're going to be very strong going into the late game with, battle mages, Cass and Rise, best in slot battle mages, and Zeri, who has a lead. So can they withstand the pressure of this Tristana? These double AD carry compositions, notoriously combustible, can be super explosive, or they can just get run over because everyone on the team, you've got two people that need to kite too much. The key is to not be afraid of dying, right? Your damage, if they're going all in on you and you step back, if you flash all the way out, then you're not dealing damage, you're not contributing to your team, and then it means that the other one's going to get strung out. So if Aphelios plays too defensively and tries to go back, then Tristana will get lit up, right? And vice versa. So what I'd like to see them do, hold their ground up front on the fight, which they should be able to do. Thresh will create enough peel, and you've got Ken and Sejuani that can dive back on their team. You should be able to take these fairly explosive fights, but if the fight does linger at this stage in the game with Cassiopeia and Rise, that damage can be explosive coming out over time. Now, 4K gold lead for themselves, largely in the pocket of the Tristana, and Tristana just clapping this Rise right now. Keep the activity up, PSG. You need to keep on moving. You've got two guys with long range and guns. Yes, they're going to keep on scaling. Good wherewithal by Seos there. Having the gumption, realize that you've got pressure from the Aphelios, but knowing also that there might be a hook, sidestepping the hook, and then still moving forward, having the guts to go back in as well. But living dangerously, opts to get out now, has to give up some of this pressure. Now 3 minutes until the Dragon, so I wouldn't expect a huge press unless they feel like they can take this fight, which they undoubtedly do. Sejuani, are you going to jump over this wall? It's dangerous going into a Cassiopeia. If you dive Cassiopeia and you don't get it perfectly right, your team is going to get blown up. So they opt not for the fight, not pulling the trigger just yet. Thresh saying, if you're willing to hit that ward one more time, we are going to take your life. Rakan wisely opting not to. Rakan trying to get the Aphelios mid-lantern. That would have been crazy. All right, they do get something back for themselves on the map, right? You don't see the Tristana not showing strength. Rise is able to push this up. They do still have Rift Herald in pocket, which I expect them to use bottom. They want to try to get themselves some more, especially if they can get themselves 2 turrets, right? If they could get themselves some time away on the map, in preparation maybe for the Dragon, saying, hey, we're going to use this, we're going to put pressure in bot wave. If you don't come answer it, then we'll push out. But it's going to be a commitment to a fight if it does happen, if they try to go for that second one. Now, Ubao, too deep, going 1v2 against Wukong and Zeri. To what avail, right? What else do they have? There's no real pressure on the map. Sejuani's sitting back. That's got to be miscommunication. You can't be that far up as a Tristana based on where your other people on your team are, right? You at least need to win mid before you go up that far. So maybe feeling themselves a little bit too much does give up the shutdown. And now with Herald and Numbers and a Cassiopeia in this position, I really like Loud's spot. Rakan with some preemptive pull. Here we go. Yeah. Why are you running away? This is a mistake. Tristana's gone. Rise has teleport. You have Zeri that could be showing up at any moment. They could have pressed forward for sure. They have good vision on the Kennen as well. There was no chance that they were going to get engaged on there. Would have liked to see them play for more. However, you still have Robo just licking his wounds right now. 0-4. Going to feel a little bit stronger once they finish the Archangels, right? For sure. Inevitably going to feel stronger. But how much weaker than everybody else are you? Right? Kennen 0-0-3 is going to go back, finish Banshee's Veil for this fight. Banshee's Veil, of course, stopping the early engage from Rakan or potentially Wukong, who might be spinning up on you. It does stop you from getting rooted against Rise, because Rise will have to hit you with a Q first, right? If he tries to do... EW, then you just block the E. You don't get rooted. You'll just get slowed. Also stops a lot of Cassiopeia's damage. Not only is it magic resist, but the fact that she can't land the poison on you means that she can't get the Twin Fangs on you. So love this purchase of the Banshee's Veil. It also allows Kennen the opportunity to get into the fight unimpeded. So absolutely love this purchase. Now here we go. Are they actually contesting for this fight? Tristana does have teleport, but they're treating her like a split pusher, saying we are so much stronger than Robo here. We are willing to posture at this dragon, kind of safely just pressure for a trade. Zeri ends up getting it from 1280. It looks like Smites came out at the same time as a Zeri auto attack. But in the meantime, Tristana gets the turret for herself. And where is Ryze? Is Ryze just pushing bot? This camera and camera, they need to kind of swap their angles, you know, maybe get rid of this AWS ad on the other side. Just saying, you know, maybe could see where Ryze is at. But no, Ryze, yeah, does look like Ryze took a wave up in bot and then came up to top lane to stymie the push. Now, any lingering vision? Doesn't look like they got any. Sejuani forced to flash out. Aggro the Baron, please. Thank you. You want the Baron aggro so that they're taking more chunk damage here. Thresh getting the hook on the backside, hitting the peel, which means they're going to be stronger, which means that they have the threat on Baron if they want it. They may opt to take some time on this, saying, hey, we haven't shopped yet since the last one. Looking to get more gold in our inventory before we actually play for this flex. But it is a dead Wukong, and if you're ever going to take a fight, that might be the one to take. Now, a lot of tools still available, right? All the key ones. Wukong, definitely a huge part of their piece, but make no mistake, it's Rakan into Cassiopeia that is going to be the majority of their damage. They do have Ryze that can get them their whole team over walls to create whatever fight they want. All sorts of head fakes available as well. So against Ryze, PSG deciding, hey, nope, let's dot some more I's and cross some more T's, get things really in the position that we exactly want, where we can take advantage of your northern quadrant, and then with that advantage we'll press into the pit. Otherwise, it is a 2-1 dragon lead. Not dragons could be the stack, but Chemtech Soul, not really the game-ending one. It is fairly effective against this team, actually, with the amount of CC they have, so that low health tenacity really could come into play if someone were to get that soul. But all of these stacks, right, just being good, the longer the fight goes, it favors you, and especially with a champion like Cassiopeia, that's going to be a big deal for them. So, Tristana presses up, able to push out this wave, rotates over first. They're going to play a little bit stronger now that she's gone. Cass still does not see the Tristana, right? Has one ward covering that gateway bush from the bottom river into midwave. Did not see Tristana cross it. So Trist is either trying to flank the Zeri right now or is back on the wave. She sees him back on the wave, so she takes wolves and comes back. This is very good macro by Cassiopeia. In the meantime, you're going to constantly see these guys fight for midwave and then use midwave to get vision. Right now, with the stranglehold that Loud has on their own jungle, I expect them to fight for every ward that might be coming in here. They're very happy to put Cassiopeia in this side wave versus Trist. The wave clear, however, is much slower, which does mean that Tristana is able to clear the wave and is able to rotate. So can you use those 15-second windows to get some amount of pressure into the enemy position? Now, Sejuani, Junja, just dutifully sticking to it every single time that they clear mid, is back in this jungle, clearing out vision. Very difficult to do on this map as well with the large-scale plants, right? The bloom knocking everything down to 1 HP and giving you a move speed so that you can get in to kill it. The explosive plants that let you get out. But this is where the game is. They're going to fight for position. Fight for this. Tristana first to the wave again. Now, at some point, this advantage that PSG is gaining does mean that Tristana's going to have to come over. At some point, Cass will have to leave this bottom wave, not collect it. Otherwise, there's too much of a window. And relying just on teleport on against a team that has Sejuani and Kennen might be too late, right? The explosive damage, if Tristana ever goes for this move, then you are going to be late to the fight, and you better believe, or you better be firm on your execution, keeping this area alive and extending this fight. But if you're PSG, you got to start making this fight kind of happen. You got to start looking a little bit more proactively. There's the Sejuani. They see that Rakan's ultimate was used, so they're able to get Robo, the Inter again. And, you know, what did they gain was... Wait, what happened with the Rakan? Oh, it was Shirelia's. It was Shirelia's, not the ultimate. But either way, Shirelia's being down. That's one tool that could have been used to extend one of these fights is now gone. And yeah, with 7 seconds on Dragon, they're going to go for the easier objective. Kennen still has teleport. Expect them to put a ward on the Eastern Quadrant beaches. That will give Kennen a good teleport angle. But no, they're actually not pressing. They're fighting for mid. Tristana wants to shop before coming back in here. We'll see how much of an item she has here. It does look like it's going to be Lord Dominic's regards. They opt for the head fake. Enemy team is looking at Dragon, so we'll take Baron. Ryze is still going to be late, but Ryze has teleport. They do use the Farsight alteration. They use the Pollen Bloom to get this in, which means that the bluff is called. And they end up stepping back. They say, hey, we don't want this. And this Cassiopeia pick, just showing how strong it is. Any fight that you do not take and 100-0 the enemies, you're going to be dealing with Zeri and Cassiopeia, the two best in slot carries at their position, at their roles. So PSG being very tentative, waiting till they get a little bit more vision. They want to get the mid prio first. Here they go. They push for it while Tristana starts taking the dragon. Good job. They collect their bounty. Now Loud is going to fight for Northern Quadrant prio again. Let's see if they can get themselves one ward behind the enemy position. So difficult to do on this Chemtech map. Now, same position again, opposite of the first, right? The inverted position. Kennen goes to bot lane. He's got the teleport. Check out that ward that they have above the red pit. It is about to expire, but look for another ward like that. PSG is going to want that flank angle. And whatever play they make, they have to be concise, compact, consolidated. One strike, which very much is going to have to come from a flank. The longer this game goes in this stagnated position, the more it's going to favor Loud. Now Sejuani, here we go. Each time that this fight happens, it gets better and better for Loud. They're able to take more damage. This time they step up. They say, hey, here we go. Here's the fight. We're going into Waco. But Waco is just the entire shield. All they used up was the shield here. Some chunk damage coming out. Wukong's clone actually dealing a non-zero amount of damage here. Now, Kennen does not have flash. Maybe could have taken the rest of that fight. Now, what I like about what PSG is doing, specifically the Warmog's purchase from the Sejuani, look at this. She shrugged it all off. It's gone. You stepped up. You get them to use a lot of their tools to move forward. You chase them back. Now Sejuani's back at full health, and your prize is the Baron. So Loud overstepping a little bit, thinking, hey, maybe we've got the fight. Ends up bricking into the shields of the Aphelios. Doesn't do any damage to the man. And that's not the fight they want, right? They want to be the counterattack. They don't want to be reaching. They want a committal fight where they counterattack. So now with Baron gone, expect some mid and a bot pushing to happen, right? They're going to use mid and bot so that they can get lingering vision in the Eastern Quadrant. With that vision, they should have the advantage for this dragon in 3 minutes. So just about the same time, perfect amount of timing. In fact, they will have the Baron buff long enough to create all this pressure. They're going to start off slow, right? They're going to walk it in. Now, something that you could have done if you're Loud, you know that this is the play. Right, they're gonna be playing on the right side of the map so that they can prepare for Dragon. So I would have loved to see a Cassiopeia just waiting in a bush, right? Just say, hey, we dare you to come in. I'm gonna ground you with Miasma, but of course Sejuani just on point, doing all the scouting for the team, stepping up, moving forward. 206, absolute hard carry on this champion. Now, specifically, look at the build too. Force of Nature second. You got the Bombies to help you with the clear and to get a little bit of the aggro. But then went Force of Nature, a nod towards the Cassiopeia and Rise damage, saying, hey, I'm going to have this stacking resistance. You're never going to be able to kill me. This might be a... this is probably going to be a mythic-less game, which is something that we root for. A lot of these mythics aren't really that much better than any other. In fact, they're just not better, and they're only getting better once you have multiple stacks on a mythic passive, for example. And in this case, Sejuani just doesn't need that, right? What are you looking for? Radiant Virtue? Maybe at some point, but like other items can do more than what that does. So, expect to see the Thornmail come out next so that you can get that preemptive heal cut, something that will reduce the power over time of the Conqueror on this Cassiopeia and of the Zeri, who has gone Immortal Shieldbow. And just showing a masterclass on the pick. However, right, there have been windows. Loud has had some opportunities, did overstep. That one overstep is what lost them the Baron, right? And this is really what it takes for PSG's comp to actually jump ahead. They needed something like Baron. Now, interestingly enough, they are moving over Tristana, opting not to be part of the push, saying we want Kennen to be closer. Tristana is the better teleporter. We want Kennen to just be in position already. And check this out. He's already got a flanking angle. They might be able to catch on Zeri. They're moving up. Are they going into position? No, Junji's just going to step back. Look at that, all that. Just shrugging off all this damage. Kennen has absolutely got this angle. If they look like they're pressing on Seos, but they actually dive onto Cassiopeia and Zeri, that would be absolutely phenomenal. But the fight starts to move away. Now, with the pressure, instead of being bot side, they end up staying top and mid. Means that they get the vision in the top side, but it means that they're going to be out of position for this dragon. Now, maybe that's what they want. They want, say, hey, we know we can be out of position. This does mean Tristana's jumping in. Oh my god, showing absolute strength. I want to see that ultimate already from you, Kennen. That was so poorly engaged. Oh my goodness. Now this is the fight that Loud wants. Expect Rise to ultimate behind the team. They should go for this 100%. You've got the HP lead. This is what you need from your team. Kennen ultimate is down. You're going to feel strong in these fights. Just overreached. PSG did not need to do that with the Baron buff going up. They could have just pressed for lane advantage. Now Junja going in again. They end up getting the pop on Wukong. Oh my god, on both sides of the fight. And Tristana winning on her own as well. So they just slap them with their wallets. Loud able to take some amount of ground, but not enough. Tristana just, this Rise pick has been exploited all game. I expect that to go onto the shelf after this one because, man, both champions, both Kennen and Tristana have been clowning on that Rise, especially Tristana, just saying, hey, I can take this to you all day long. Now expect to go for the end here. Junja holding on to some amount of aggro. Nope, they opt to call back. Say, hey, the win is ours, but have you forgotten that this turret is still here? Ooh, they bait them into the overreach away from the turret. That'll be it. That's game. They're going to walk in the minion wave here to make sure that they've got the wave. Cassiopeia is up in 14 seconds. Now, Wukong can front enough of this damage to get 2 of these kills. Does it for himself. Now, Cass should be able to respawn. Rakan is going to int to try to keep this turret alive. It is not quite enough. They're able to get it in quickly. And Cass does not get the respawn. Game 1 to PSG.